Hi everyone. We are going to paint our singing skaters, very nostalgic kind of painting today on our organ shaped signs that are so lightweight and beautiful, and old fence board's been sanded really nicely. So what I have done is I've gone ahead and hi, I'm Pauline, and I own Vino and Van Gogh, and that's where you found out about this um, being offered as our video. So do quite a bit. We've got like 30 videos out there right now, and this is going to be number 31. So I went ahead and took a little watery black paint and put in the guy, put in wherever I'm going to need black because the legs are, we're going to go over this whole thing with the blue all the way down, so that you're not just trying to build up, it's going to be, make your snow a lot more interesting when we go over to that part. So we're going to start with this up in here, kind of a navy blue with a little bit more green than the blue. So I'm going to show you how to mix that. You are going to take that green that you have and always wet your brushes first. Let me talk about your brushes that you're going to have. We have this size right here, and let me see, get these up here for you. All right, we've got this right here, this kind of a 1 inch flat, and then we've got its baby brother, a little half inch or less, 5/8 inch. 5/8 is more than a half, yeah, a little bit more than a half inch. And then this round, the round brush can be um, it can be almost any size for this painting. We are going to have to do some outlining and go around our little globe, and very simple palette for this one. So always wet your brushes first. Make sure that they're in the water and just give them a good shake, pinch it off or blot it on your napkin so that so we don't soak up the board too much. So what you're going to find out about this particular painting surface is that it's very dry, and your first pass is going to look pretty putrid. You're not going to be happy with it because that board is just going to suck it in. But immediately it's going to dry. Have a hair dryer handy, which I have. It's kind of got to scoot underneath the camera lens here and go pick it up. But the second, it's latex paint, so it's like plastic. When it dries, it's going to seal it, kind of like a primer, and then your second coat is going to show up. So anyway, I am going to take some. I want this to be a pretty good mixture between the blue and the green, and I really want you to be careful with this blue. This blue is unforgiving. It's very staining. A little bit goes a long way. We gave you a lot, but you're not going to need anywhere near that much. So I took about probably about a pea size, and then I'm going to take about half of that much of the blue and just kind of see what I get. It's still too much green. I need more blue. So I'm going to grab some more blue, but instead of contaminating your whole pile, let's just kind of put it here on the edge, and that's much better. So it's still kind of, it's still really bright, and it is going to stain, and um, you don't want it to be real bright. So I'm going to tone it down a little bit with just kind of dip your brush into the end of the brown, and let's kind of dull it up a little bit. So now that's kind of more what I'm going at. We'll put this on, put a real wet coat on, and then we're going to come back and we'll add some white to that and lighten it up a little bit. But right now, I just put another dunk of water in there. Still needs a little bit more blue. So I've got my blue, got my green, and got my brown, and it's kind of like that right there. So I'm going to go ahead, forget about your pencil lines. Um, I'm going to show you how to get around the figures when you do get to them. And if you haven't started yet, if you are doing this coat, you kind of want to see where I've got it right here. Um, the person that drew it on got a little fancy with her pencils, and she made ruffles on the bottom of his coat. And he's a man, he's got a suit coat, or he's got like one of those London fog rain snow coats, very dapper. He doesn't have ruffles. She's got the ruffles. So we wanted to make his legs really straight instead of, it was a little bit more on the, ooh, I don't know, kind of more of a cartoony look to it. So let's put this down and see. That's exactly perfect. It's what I want. and you're going to just dunk your brush into the water. Don't keep getting more paint. You know, you've had classes from me before, and you just want to put this on very thin. So I'm just, look, I'm not taking any more paint. I just want to stain this board, and I'm probably going to be happy with it. I'm probably going to like some of the blonde wood that shows through. So I'm going to take a little bit more paint, you know, because I'm running out. And that's exactly what I want. Now I'm getting right here to a little bit rougher edge of my board. It's going to have a different texture. Look at that dark line that showed up. That is just gorgeous. It's like I painted it on. Don't worry about don't worry about the lamp post. That's easy to put back in. And I'm just kind of dunking my brush and taking a little bit of water, put it on both sides. And we're going to kind of come down where this snow is right here, sort of. And then we're going to blue it up a little bit more and put more blue in here. So I'm going to go ahead and get this done. Dunk, pull. And I do want you to go outside of the lines, overlap that the green into the little frozen whatever they're on, so that we don't have a silk screen. And if you just kind of hit, just pulling this paint off, if you kind of hit lightly, kind of stay away from her, it does, the scarf is going to be fine, but sort of stay away from her face if you can. And how you do that is I'm just going to put my brush up here. I'm going to pull it away. I'm going to shape her face. She's got a big face too. Isn't this fun? Yes. Oh, this is so cool. Yep. He's got dark hair. He also, I think Jill put it on where he's got a cap on. So you may or may not want to go ahead and mix up a little bit more. So I put some blue in there. You may want him to just be with his black hair, shows up against the sky. We're going to lighten that a little bit. And I'm going to come down with that green, just go straight between their arms. Forget about the hands right now, because we're gonna put on flesh color, kind of peach for the hands, and that's going to show up. Now, another thing that you might want is you might want to switch to your smaller brush if you're real particular about keeping all your edges perfectly clean. I'm just going to go through this because my orange is going to cover that up. And I want to I'm starting to pull a little bit more blue in there as I come down. You can just go right across his coat, because that we're going to come back and we're going to put that black on again, and that's going to cover up any, now I'm kind of going down the side right here. You can see what I'm doing. And just so that you have cross, you can still see your chalk line. I think I like that right there. I'm going to leave that alone for now, and I'm going to pull in a little bit more blue down in here. And I'm also going to take a little bit of white. I don't want it quite, you want it kind of blue-green. Isn't that cool? That's really cool. But get it thin. You don't want it to have it real thick. So if it's thick on your brush, just add a couple dunks of water till it's sort of like soupy, half and half. All this is going to get covered up with white. Isn't this gorgeous? Oh, look at these colors. And you can kind of shape her hips a little bit. And her dress kind of swirls out like that. So I'm just going to kind of go over there, blend it into my green. And I'm not going to mess with her dress. I'm going to keep that pure so that her orange. All right, here we go, coming down. And I'm just going to go across her legs. Just going to give it, I'm going to try and stay. You can go ahead and go across the boots, because like I said, the white is going to cover all that up. Just want to, my blue is a little bit bright, and I'm going to add a little bit of black and gray in here with the white, or not the white yet, but I'm going to kind of add a few areas when we get to it. So thank goodness you can pause, you can rewind, you can back up, you can catch up with me. We've got kind of a 40-minute limit right here on this, and should be able to get this cool little painting done. And then in the bottom, you can see on the bottom, if you're looking at your little pieces of paper, down in here, it's really a bluish gray. And I think that's probably enough for right there. I'm going to put that between under his coat, between his legs right there. I'm going to mix up a little bit of, this is a good time to pause. And this looks dark because it's very wet yet. And I want to see how the light is changing. I'll sort of, there you go. You can kind of see I've got some darker areas right in here. And that's just where my brush stopped. We're going to cover all this up. It's all going to smooth out. It's all going to be beautiful. And so not to worry about it. Now I'm going to mix up a bluish gray. So I'm going to take the black and just kind of put it, take a little tiny bit of black. A little bit goes a long way. So that brings me to cleaning your brush. I don't want to contaminate all of my water, keep running to the sink to get clean water. So just take your paper towel and pull that off a little bit like this. And swish it around. Take a very little bit of black. Now, if you have a sponge, I'm going to go ahead and clean this off because it's getting a little, really got too much black out there. So there we go. The white is going to make this a little more opaque. I think I'm going to start, actually, I'm going to go back up here and take off a good chunk of white like that. A little tiny bit of black. I mean, just the end of your brush, and don't put it right in the center of all your white. Kind of get rid of most of it right there and kind of work your way in. That is pretty much the shade that I want. I just want it to be a little bit more blue. Little bit more blue. You can kind of see what I'm doing here. I think I like that. So that's going to go over their shoes. And you're going to get that color in. And it's going to come up into, to meet this other area that you've been painting. And then we'll start covering it up. Keep working back and forth and in and out, and just kind of mix a little bit of blue, put a little bit of black in there. And I'm going to, let me see. There we go. And just a little bit of black right here. And some gray. Now, if you have some of your board that isn't totally covered up, that's fine. That's just going to make your snow a lot whiter. I'm going to put some darker down in here in this corner. And this is pretty light over here. A little bit darker gray over onto this side right there. Very much cool. All right. So with this same color, we're going to put another coat on the background, so you don't need to wash your brush. Let me show you how to mix it. We're going to just kind of lighten that up a little bit with this kind of bluish. And I'm pulling in a little bit more white into this puddle now. I want to have this kind of like that. If you have, so I got a little bit of the blue and a little bit of the black and some of the white. And there was probably some green on my brush too. I'm going to add a couple dunks of water because you want this to kind of, you don't want it to be real thick and opaque. You still want to have it kind of transparent. And in the center here, I'm just going to lightly go over that. Don't pay any attention to that light post. And I'm going to get this darker gray too, but I want to kind of brighten it up a little bit. Right in the center, I'm pulling back, going to his head and kind of pulling over. Turn your brush sideways if you're in a crack of the one board meets another board. And I'm just gonna go from her head and pull it over. No, this is going to be the pond. You don't need to paint the pond. We're just doing I did go down in, excuse me, I did go down into my pond, and you want to kind of get that free brush stroke. So don't worry about going into his coat. I'm going to kind of look at my monitor and see, yeah, it looks a little spotty. And so I'm going to continue, kind of ran out of paint, so I'm going to get some more of the blue and the black. And there's not too much over here. I know there's a lot of white down in here, so I kind of have to be careful. I don't want to put too much. We're going to come around with dark around the top, but just sort of a little bit around their head in between here so they show up nicely. And I'm going to go ahead and put some dark around the edge. I don't need to clean my brush up. I'm just going to pull in some black and blue into that pile. Make sure that you can still see that the black has not overpowered the blue completely. And put that right here. And if it starts to run, you can just catch it. But these boards are so dry. Beautiful old boards that my friend Jim makes for us. I'm going to put some darker up in here. We're going to be doing Multnomah Falls on our board, and that's going to come out right after Christmas. We're going to kind of get our little kicks right now with this holiday nostalgia we got going on there. So how is that looking? Okay, so a little bit darker over here. This is looking fine. You see what I'm doing here? We're going to put bushes there. We're going to put some trees here. And so just kind of want to have a little bit of a halo around them. This does look really dark, but that is because there's a lot of glare. Let me see. Oh my gosh, I wish I could have filmed with my new camera, but that's how I want it. And maybe this light doesn't need to be on. So hang on one second. Let's turn this. Shine it somewhere else. Now what do we got? Ooh, we really got dark now. Some of these other lights on. Okay, I'm still getting that really dark spot here. It's going to have a lot of, it looks dark, but I'll show you how to cover it up if yours got that way. And because we have lots of trees right here, you can see that it is dark right in here. And we're going to have some trees, some bushes, we'll do some sponge work so that it looks very kind of organic and natural. And I'm going to continue to put the dark down along here. And be careful with your too much black right there. We go. And I'm going to kind of work back and forth between your white and a little bit of white if it got too dark on me, which I don't know if I like that either. You take your finger and rub it off. And it seems like I got a little bit too dark at the top, right around his head. Right, now I'm going to have you wash off your brush, and we are going to layer that whole thing with snow. So this is a good time for you guys to take a break, and I'm pulling off the paint because there's a lot of dark paint on that. It's going to keep my water really nice and clean. I'm going to take my sponge, and boy, I'm going to clean up this palette. And if you have an extra paper plate that's coated, just do that. There we go. And you may choose to, probably a little easier for some of you to do your smaller brush. And I'm just going to take some white and I'm going to add it. I'm going to kind of put it on a little bit thin. You want to drag it over there. Just kind of blend those together. Don't worry about so much about going. You just want that brush stroke to not look all choppy. So don't worry about going into his coat or to her coat, because it's going to get all covered up. Okay. Now, right in here, like I said, don't worry about his, and kind of slim him up a little bit. He looked like she found some snowman to dance with out on the skates. We want to make him look dapper and beautiful, and and this comes up, the white comes up above their hands, so don't worry about their hands. Just go ahead and get some of that light up in there above them. Okay. And it's up to you how much you want to put this first layer on. Pretty thin. You can always go back and make it nice and white and beautiful, which we're going to do. You can see my lake start to form right here. Kind of goes off into the distance to kind of make it look like it goes off further. And I just kind of tap my brush in this right in here to be sort of straight, because that's where the edge of the pond is. And you can see when you press flat, you're going to get a big chunk of white. So just kind of keep working at it with your brushes. Coming down here. And this is all going to get, we don't want to put big, you want to have it thin layers so that you can keep coming back and working at this and adding more white. And as soon as you get to a big open area, I want you to switch to your bigger brush so that it's not choppy. And this look cute. Okay, I'm gonna take out a big chunk of white. I'm almost ready to get my bigger brush, but that also comes behind. I'm gonna put some of there. I'm going to go behind her head a little bit. Then her hand is going to be down here, so I'm just going to cover that up. So isn't that amazing? And this is going to, I'll do another coat real quickly here. I'm just going to kind of scrub it on like that. You can leave a little halo of the turquoise or whatever is in the background around her dress. You don't have, and this goes down real straight, where her skirt is flipping up. I think she's a little bit out of shape right in here. Don't worry about her. It's a good idea to put that, and this goes on. I don't want to ruin my brush because, this is hard on them. And we use a little bit older brushes for the wood. Okay, it's getting white enough. Almost to the point where I can, and I really lost the shape of his coat. So you have to look at your little picture and see kind of where you're going here. And down into the skates. Her skates are white, so just go ahead and cover her feet up. And you may just want to, you might not want to put skates on at all. Maybe they're just singing on, kind of a frozen field, maybe they don't bring their skates. Very nostalgic. This white is going to go all the way across. I'm going to take the big brush now and get this project underway. Okay. And so now you've got some of all that nice gray and all that shadows and things. You want to just have your brush, a little bit of water, some paint, and you're going to keep adding it and getting it brighter and brighter. You might want to take a hairdryer at this point, but if I cover up all the white and I don't have enough of the shadows underneath of My two singers, goodness, that's easy fix. I'm gonna go all the way to the edge right there. Okay, we get to come in with a lot of like white slappy snow and kind of make this interesting. Just keep a lot of water on your brush. This stuff is dry and there's that looks like it might work. Okay, let me see my board here. I'm going to pull this over a little bit. And okay, so he is really, you know, we've got a really dark area right here over where he is, and some more white. And just kind of keep feathering this so that you don't have a box, you know. You want to kind of have this sort of coming in. And if you go all the way over, no problem. We'll just put the trees back in. So it's kind of a zigzaggy, and then it gets white at the bottom right there. So this is still a little bit dark, but I'm going to come back. I am going to, I'm going to fix that. Right now, I want to take my sponge and I want to take my sponge, kind of give you these great sponges that have these holes in them. And I'm going to mix up a color and kind of soften some of the background a little bit. I'll start with my dark green. I'm just putting a little bit of dark green on the sponge right here. And you can see that. Take a little bit more and pat it off. Now I'm going to take a little bit of brown, pat that in a different area, and then kind of blend those two together. So you get this sort of greenish brown. And I'm going to bring that color up into, let me see, her head. We want this green to come down, the background to come down a little bit further into her scarf there. And then I'm just going to take this green. You want to, you know, make sure that you practice on your, right here so that you don't go up with a big clunk of paint, because those holes are going to suck up paint and they'll just deposit that. So already it's starting to look really soft and nice. And that's all we do with that one right there. I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of blue to that mixture with my sponge. See what I get. I get something really nice that I like. That's what I got. So I'm going to kind of put some soft little bushes out here, and because we're going to put our light post, and maybe some of that blue over here. And there is some blue down in here. It's not real bushy though. So, all right, so that's it on that one. If you have a paper towel, just squeeze that paint out, because it does pick up a lot of paint. And get a clean paper towel. And I'm going to go with the white. And of course, this is going to, I don't know if I like those. I don't like that down in there. So this is great with the sponge. Take that off. We don't need to have any bushes down there. This is all going to be just him and her, and make sure that I got everything. So I might have to turn this off and let you guys catch up for a second, and or I can just keep painting here. I think I will just keep painting and let you regulate when you come back and when you turn it on. So I'm going to take off that blue that I mixed up, and I'm going to put some clean white out. Do the same thing with my sponge. I might pick up a little color from the palette. You never know, you know. So you want to make sure that that is all distributed on your brush like that. Okay. And I want to just kind of look at those frozen trees. A little bit goes a long way. We're going to kind of do the horizon a little bit, and maybe one or two more. Really, you can get really carried away with this, and you'll have to start over basically. There is another, maybe some brush, some out here, and the rest of we're going to paint a little tree right here. And I like this one over here. It actually has some of the board showing through, so it warms it up a little bit. I think I put a little bit more. And this is just, of course, going to go on and on and on and on with our white. We're going to keep adding coat after coat and just kind of get that white going in there. And you want to do this before you start really getting serious about the detail and the coat and the hand. But I like, so all these little, kind of colors are poking through the layers, that it's not just a solid, oh, what do you call it? Solid. Ooh, my goodness, my battery is running low. Hang on one second, folks. I forgot all about that. Be right back. Okay, we are back again. Thank you for joining me on this lovely rainy day. I'm doing I doubt if you're just joining us, but I think you're probably getting pretty caught up here. So I'm going to do another step. I also, while I was tending to what I needed to do, I kind of brightened up my white a little bit, and I'm just going to got rid of make sure you have a little bit of shadow in here. I'm ready to put on some, I think I'm ready to do his coat. So I've got all the color around it that I need. And I'm going to take a big brush. Actually, let's go back a little second here. Before we put all that, I'm going to take this brush, this size right here. Before we do that, I do want to do the orange as well. First. So let's put her skin tone on. And that is just going to be a tiny little bit of that. We set you away with plenty. And all you're going to need is the faces. And I just tiny little bit until you get kind of a skin tone, add a little bit of white. It's winter time. They don't have a whole lot of color in their face, so find a kind of a clean area. And I'm going to just kind of put her, looks like the same color as the board. No features. You want to just keep this really simple. And the brush just kind of fits right there by his head. And I'm going to take a tiny little bit of orange and just kind of put it like on one side of his cheek here. He's got just a little bit of color in his face. And the same thing with her. Maybe her forehead is a little brighter. And then I'm going to put her, I'm going to put a wash of orange, thin wash, because you can see that this is what it's going to look like right here, a thin orange, and then we'll go over it with a different color. So again, I don't want to, that's her hair. So let's just kind of start off here. And she just kind of joins right there. And then her arm goes down, and then it just kind of makes a turn like that. She's keeping her balance really nicely. Go ahead and paint the rest of her coat. A little bit of water. We're just staining it right now. We'll go back, and she's got a little bit of a ruffle on the edge of hers. She's got a tiny little waist, doesn't she? So you can just come in with that white, and I'll show you how to kind of trim it up. And her arm kind of comes over and down, and then she's kind of keeping her balance like that. And you want to go ahead and fill up a little ruffle here, and then this kind of goes up. I'm going to get a little thicker with my paint here to get rid of some of that black. And we'll put the legs back in. We're going to let this dry. And let's do the scarf for him, which is just, I'm going to turn my brush on the edge and just kind of go twist it, lay it on like that, however you get it on there. Don't piddle with it. Don't mess with it. Don't try and make it perfect. There's plenty of other things you can paint on. It's real natural to want to fix what we just did. And, let it dry. It might not look that bad. Usually your first pass is pretty good. I don't have anything that's just kind of a little spot out there, and their hands are a little peachy. So we're just kind of put some peach color right here. You don't want to add a little bit of white to that because that really got quite, there we go. And she's got kind of go. And a little bit of white on my orange. And in her hand, it's like that. And his, I'll make his a little darker. Maybe he's got some dark orange gloves on. There we go. So we got that. I'm done with the orange except for we're going to do her scarf. And I just pull out a little bit. You guys got enough paint. You could probably do 3 of these, 10 of them actually. And I'm going to just kind of go off and then turn my brush and kind of like that and then go up. Okay. All right, I'm going to trim a little bit of her waist before I put any black in. I'm going to go ahead and add some white. And I know that it kind of comes at an angle like that. I'm just going to pull that away. So my nose getting a little bit of orange to it, and that's fine. That is fine. Looking good. Looking really dapper. Now, the rest is going to be black, except for our green trees. And we do have a little peach up in here. So while we have that peach on our brush, let's put our globe in. And our globe is going to be right underneath the dip of Oregon here. So you just kind of put your brush on the edge here, press, and then just spin it. And you'll get a pretty good circle. And then you want to fill that in, mostly white. Mostly white. A little bit of that yellow brown makes a nice globe. I'm just gonna some of you might just want a moon. Maybe they're out in the woods and there's no city lights around where they are. And the board is a little bit, right here is one of my dips right there. So I'm going to come back and I will put a little bit of light on that. And I'm just going to kind of put a little bit where this board got covered up. That's pretty good. All right, so I'm going to wash my brush. I was going to go with the black, but I see right in here just needs a little wiggle like that of some white. Just kind of like a little wiggle. Just kind of make your snow look rough. You know, they're skating and it's an outdoor pond. And, you know, I've skated on those outdoor ponds and you really can't do it unless it freezes and there's no wind. And usually when snow comes, cold weather comes in the Midwest anyway, there's always a lot of wind. So just kind of dance around. They need a little bit of white right in here between their legs. And then we'll have a little shadow here, but right down in here. Now we've got those guys on. So anyway, and this will just keep soaking up and soaking up and soaking up. And so, and kind of sweet. He looks like he's got a big rocker right here. So I kind of want to, once his, you know, kind of break that right there. Get rid of his little rocking horse who looked like he was on one of those things. So a little bit of white right there. Okay, I am going to leave this alone. I'm going to come back when it's a little drier and put on a, you know, another coat of white. It got a little big for me too. We're going to outline it. So instead of outlining mine with black on the outside, I'm going to go on the inside, and that's going to make my globe a little smaller. So let's get going with the black here, and just put a nice fresh coat on our guy here, and just kind of bling it out right there. And you can still see where I really trimmed him up a little bit. And this kind of comes pretty straight. There we go. We just kind of want that, really gives us some action. He's singing, and this comes down straight and then a little bit off to his leg like that. That's the outside of his coat. Then he's got the inside where his pants are. I'm not going to paint those. I'm just going to kind of let them fade it, and that'll be enough, to show that, hey, the outside is his coat and the inside is his pants. Just a straight line for his shoe, and just kind of curve it like that. And a little skate there for him. Curve it like that. And I just kind of wiggled it and brought it down. Now, these aren't fine high heels, so you don't need a lot of, well, that's a big skate. Try not to mess with it too much. And now she's got a little bit right here. Put her leg, and just kind of don't have to have much form. We're painting on wood. The wood is rough. And they'll be able to see her skates because I'm just going to basically put the blades on and then put a blob of white on top of that. So there's her skate. These are big skates. Big skates. I think I said that before. They'll get the idea. Lady skate's going to have white and get a little darker right there. Now, she's got a little ruffle around her bottom of her dress, and you might probably, good idea to pick up your smaller brush. Always get it wet. And I'm going to put the ruffle, and there we go, a little bit darker. And we got a little bit of this right here. And very carefully go around her hair, just around her face. Remember, don't press hard. Just bring that down into her scarf and her kind of neckline, like that. Okay, and then I'm going to take this line and swirl it over on top of her shoulder, like that. And some line, all you need is just a couple little decoration for her scarf. And then underneath of his was outlined underneath of his chin and his hair. And we're letting this dry, and I'm just gonna be careful not to give him too big of a hat. I know he ended up, he liked the snow hat, the cap, it looked a little bit too army for me. The caps with the earmuffs and stuff I think he had on. So, the white shirt, we got to put a white shirt on him. And so just going to put a little bit there. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm ahead of the game, so why mess with it right now? Her hair, I just kind of made kind of a brownish tan. Almost kind of like a platinum blonde, dirty, but with some black in there, and just made a really kind of made this color right here. You want it to be sort of on the light side so it shows up, so it's against a dark background. And a tiny little brush like this, and I just kind of flipped it off, and I'll outline that to make sure. There we go. I'm going to bring her, you can keep going on this forever. Let me see. This is a little bit, take your sponge, it's a little bit bright right here. I'm just going to kind of take some of that off. Let some of that background show through if you get it real thick. I'm not real crazy about that spot of orange. So I could just kind of rub it gently or not, paint over it. Okay, so I'm going to come back to my moon orb here, and I'm going to put a little coat of, I don't think I need to mix any color. I'm just going to put some white on top of it, and that peach is going to show through enough for what I want. So there we go. I have another brush, got two of them going here. So talk about ambidextrous. I'm just going to kind of hold one has white, one has black, and I want to put the pole in. So that is going to go just straight down, like right here, a couple times. And now I'm going to outline it just half of it. Just do half of it. And I'm going to go on the inside to make it look a little smaller. That. And then there's a little thing right here that is holding this, so we can cover that up if it looks a little looks real organic. I'm going to put a couple trees right in here, just very lightly, just very, very lightly, and kind of tap in some right here. This is black. Anything that shows up over your base right there. Isn't that cool? All right, some dark green. I don't need to wash my brush. Just take some dark green. I'm going to put a little tree right here, and I'm going to just kind of put my brush at the top and kind of wiggle it like that. That's a green tree. And then I'm going to tone it down, put a little black in it. And we got another tree kind of coming off right here. If it's a little too green, tone it down, put some brown in it. Now, the only thing we have to do is, I know there's a bunch of stuff that I forgot. And let me see. A little bit of brown for her hand. I did get a boo-boo there. It looks like a big mark going across her. So you need to go back to the sponge, or you need to get the dots of snow in here. And that's the Zen part of this whole painting. It's just, everything's going to start coming together. Everything always does come together as soon as it starts snowing. All these different areas of this little painting here are going to come alive and going to relate to each other. It's not just snowing there, it's also snowing on top of the grass, or on top of the pond that they are in. It's not just in the sky. Gonna mush it up a little bit. Get a lot of stars in there. They're in love. Even when it's just dry, I even put a little bit down the center here, a little white line. I think I kind of want to make that pole a little bit bigger, cover some of that up. And there you have it. His white shirt. First of all, I'm going to just put a little bit more on her scarf, a little bit more attention. So not a lot of water. You get her belt going here. And I'm just going to kind of outline a little bit so you can see sort of tiny little line you're going. And oh my goodness, this looks pretty good. Some little ends to his little trim on his scarf as well. Let the viewer figure it out. They'll get it just fine. I'm going to outline her face a little bit. Not much, maybe around the chin, kind of around his chin, and leave it alone. You're going to put her white boots on, and I'm just going to take some paint brush right here and just scoop it on. You know, skates are big and clunky. They're not, you know, you can kind of make a shoe out of it, go up into her. There, that one's better. My first one is pretty bad. So you just take your brush, clean it, pinch it off, and you can shape it and just kind of roll off that paint, take off a lot of that what you put on that you shouldn't have. And the only thing that's going to bring that skate back is just to put those little lines back in. That'll make it look like she is skating away. We're going to kind of trim up her foot a little bit. Okay. Make her leg a little longer. Okay. Her face got a little bit dark for me, so I'm just going to kind of peach it up a little bit more like that. And his looks okay. There just needs to be more stars. And you know what I found is really cool? If you take that blue and you make like a little baby's blue, you know, some soft blue snowflakes really look good. See that? Doesn't just have to be all white. And if there's anything else that you think I missed, There does look like there is a little snow up in here. There was something on him. Oh, his white shirt. I'm going to forget that. I know I'm going to forget that. So I'm just going to kind of soften this right here. It got a little heavy on me. So the white shirt, I'm going to go with this brush right here and just going to kind of make a stripe down to his waist. His waist looks like it would probably be like that. I'm just going to kind of go like that and then kind of curve. And that's all you need to make it a little wider right here. Now he's dapper. Now it looks like a coat, doesn't it? And his shirt is coming in. I got so many brushes. I got 4 brushes in my hands right here. Look at that. I'll take a little black and just kind of trim the outside like it's little. Hello. He's ready to skate. It's raining so hard out. Oh my goodness. And put a little bit of orange dapper right there. Clean up his coat. Right here, his pants. Bring that and just kind of give it a little bit more. And put another layer of coal black on the outside, and that'll make his pants look a little bit lighter. That's it, people. I want to see a picture of this when you get done. And thank you, Charlie, for sending this to me. Great idea. And my thing is a little big for the stem, or for this thing really. This should, for the size of that, this should come down a little bit bigger. So that's kind of how you fix something. I would, if yours got real big, I wouldn't patch it up unless you can wash it all off. But I think I will just... I think I'm just going to stop while I'm ahead, maybe put a little bit of green there, and then just kind of stick some white and kind of cover up that face like that. So, hey, thank you so much. You can keep working on this until the cows come home. I think the cows just came home. So I will peace out, everybody. Happy holidays, and I hope you enjoy this painting. And yeah, I like it. The light is better now. So bye-bye.